Timothy, how are you doing?
I'm doing phenomenal, man. How about yourself?
Doing well. Thank you for taking the time. I'm excited to chat with you. I talked with Mike Manning about your film, The Call, a while back.
It's
And that
Michael.
was a lot of fun. He spoke very highly of you and your direction on set and such. So this should be a fun one.
Thanks.
Let's talk about Till Death Do Us Part. The project reminds me a lot of a mix of like John Wick and Ready or Not and some other genre films. Were there any films that you were using as a reference when crafting the style of Till Death Do Us Part?
I was actually just trying to keep it like a 1990s rom-com that went bad. That was literally what was in my mind the entire time. The orchestrated music, and then I was imagining the writing in the sky of how you would used to see the names pop up in the 90s movies. And what if everything went just really bad? And that was like that was a thing. And then like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, if the Seven Dwarfs wanted to kill Snow White. That was kind of, the entire thing was to do as much juxtaposition that was possible. I used in The Final Wish, I used this Bobby Day or Bobby Darin, Dream Lover. And that 50s boom, jukebox, bubble gum. And so I'd always had an idea that I wanted to incorporate that. So I read this script. That was the thing that I did immediately. It was like, I want to incorporate all this bubble gum, 1950s music and stuff.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah.
Yeah, and the music really complements a lot of the scenes very well. I mean, as soon as the soundtrack starts ramping up, that the action's about to come, and that's a lot of fun to kind of see where that tracks.
Thank you, man. Yeah, we had fun with that.
Yeah, so there's this idea within the film as well of the university kind of looming in the background, and it's referenced numerous times but never fully explained. Was that a conscious decision with the script, or is that something that you're hoping to explore more of?
Yeah, it was a conscious thing with the script. It was there. The university was in the background. We played it up a little more in the movie. It was a little more hidden in the script as a device. But we felt the idea of, maybe, this does well and we want to explore that world and we want to play around with that world. And, it's everything is tongue in cheek. Everything's a little more, it's genre, it's a fantasy world, especially in that part. But, we felt like, that'd be cool if there was this university and this like kind of place and you could dive into that a little more. And, this movie in its core is a home invasion film, but, you could totally see someone like Jean-Claude Van Damme, playing the chancellor, you know what I mean? And completely out of place, and just a guy who's like, yeah, I'm going to take care of this. And then, doesn't do the job or something, but, something that would be cool.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the cast a little bit. Natalie Burns kicks some ass, honestly, in this movie, in the lead role. And that's an essential role that you need to, hit it out of the park with in this. And Cam Gigandy is just no stranger to playing the bad guy in films, but he has more of a comedic side to him here than I'm familiar with in others, with some of his, one-liners and his quips as he's working through the best man speech. What were you looking for when casting the film, but especially when you're talking about the groomsmen?
Yeah, I was looking. So with Natalie, she, we were looking for something already to collaborate on. So she actually sent me the script originally and said, hey, take a look at this. And then she turned out to be absolutely perfect for that role. And, then it was the idea of we've got to surround her with contrast. We need a best man who can really be on his toes, who could be suave, who can be, in charge, but also can keep the comedy going and can have fun. And Cam came in and he knocked that out of the park, man. He had a blast doing it. I gave him a playlist to listen to of music and some things. And we started talking about, what he could do with his dancing and how he could have a good time. And, he did his thing. And then, Sedarius Blaine playing the groom. We wanted somebody who was opposite of that, who could be soft-spoken, but still powerful. And he, really accomplished that. Pancho Mueller was amazing as T-Bone. I told him, I said, play it like you're, 7 feet tall and 250 pounds. Neb Shupin was, great opposite of Pancho. And they had this dynamic that was really cool. And then my man, Orlando Jones, he has some Carolina background. He came in, I called him, next day he shows up on set, flew in from Carolina, and just absolutely did anything I asked him to do, and was very quick-witted, on sharp, added some comedy, but was very cool to do. And then we had D.Y. Seo, who is, you know, just a great martial artist and a great actor. Natalie brought him in, and you know, just had some good guys all the way around. Everybody that was on the cast, I was really happy with. I was really happy with the contrast I got with the groomsmen. And I think that even Sam Herring, you know, he did a great job too, and Alan did a great job. So they all did good.
Absolutely. You mentioned Orlando Jones. He has some really well-timed one-liners in this.
Yeah.
That's just like very suave and very impactful, but just really, you know, make him a character to watch.
Yeah, he was fun. And, you know, we wanted to add some conflict there between him and Cam and look like it was a challenge, and then, you know, make Orlando go down in a certain way that was, you know, you weren't expecting, building that up and then letting it just kind of go, what, you know?
Well, speaking of that, I think that scene you're referencing, but also Orlando, you have a lot of fun with camera angles here. And there's the one where Cam's dancing in the house, and, you know, Natalie and Orlando are kind of brawling in the background. But there's also another one where you have Natalie crawling towards the camera before things get going. You know, with another groomsman with a chainsaw. Are they things that you plan out as you're reading the script and you say, oh, this would be a neat opportunity? Or are they moments that you find on the day?
Moments that you find on the day. You're looking, you're blocking, you're doing this, you see it, and you go, oh, yeah, definitely. Let's drop the camera low and crawl with her, stop as the chainsaw, you know, stops pulling and go. And with the Cam thing, it was like, oh, wait, here's an opportunity. Originally, Cam wasn't in that scene at all. You know, he was just going to be her and Orlando were outside fighting. And I said, you know what? We got to have him. He cuts because he loves his music. Got to have him cut back on his music. He needs to work on his speech while this is happening. And so since that opportunity came, Cam was a champ, and we added it at the end of the day. You can see the bloods on his collar if you look closely enough, because we'd already done the other stuff. And it was like we had like 10 minutes to add the extra because we'd already shot the Orlando Natalie part of it outside. We'd done it. So I said, let's come through the window and let's, you know, see Cam. And Cam is working on his best man speech. And this is how the scene should play out. And, you know, because it was so cool that even in his speech, he's got these moments where it's caring for another person. And then Orlando's like, you fucking, and, you know, and so we had an opportunity to have even more fun, but that was literally found on the fly.
That's excellent. Very good. You've worked on a lot of different types of films, but most recently have had, you know, The Final Wish, The Call, kind of leaning more into the horror. And I wouldn't even classify this fully as horror. I mean, it's like horror, mystery, action. What about this type of film appeals to you? What is, you know, how is it different than other things that you've worked on?
Well, it's genre bending. I got to have a good time, fun. You know, it's not as straight laced. It's not, you know, a singular story that's straight through. And, you know, I like, you know, we went through a pandemic where things were dark and things were very serious. And I wanted to come into a movie that I could really have a good time with, and that I could play opposite and do juxtaposition, where it's supposed to be a serious moment, but a fun song is playing, or, you know, opposite of what, you know, you would think would happen. I wanted to have fun with it. So I really, really enjoyed doing this and mixing these genres together.
I definitely think that's something, you know, watching The Call, watching Till Death Do Us part, that you see, you can tell that the people involved are having fun, and that has to start with you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I try to take my work very serious, but it's you know, you guys also have to enjoy it. And yeah, definitely on this one I had a blast. I mean, I laughed so much, it was crazy.
Well, recognizing that we're in the middle of, you know, two strikes with actors and the writers, what projects are up for you down the road? I've
got a famous novel that, you know, I can't say a lot about, but it's a very famous novel, and I was hired as the director on that, and that will shoot, you know, God willing, later this year. And then I'm hoping that, you know, people enjoy this movie a lot, and maybe we can go back and I can visit the world of the university. You know, we have stuff outlined, and, you know, talk to the writers, and I hope that, you know, people will come out and support a truly indie film, because that's what we are. We're a truly independent release movie. And I hope people will come out and watch us for that reason, especially, and enjoy the movie, of course.
That's excellent. I'm hoping for that as well, because I want to know more about the university and see where this goes. But Timothy, thanks so much for taking the time today. I wish you all the best with the film and moving forward.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.